All right.
Yep.
There we go. Okay. Hey, everyone. I'm joined today by Tim Rodman, who is the marketing supervisor for Schroeder Industries. And Tim and I go way, way back. When did you went to PTI, right?
Yeah, and that
Yeah.
was 2010 to 2012.
2010 to 2012. Okay. So it was right around the time that you were graduating that I reviewed your portfolio, right?
Right. It
Yeah.
seems forever ago.
Well, yeah, it really does. Well, I must have said something to leave an impression because we're still talking today. So
Right.
I'm pleased with that. There were a bunch of I remember that year actually. There were a lot of students that came to me from PTI to do portfolio reviews, and I shredded a lot of those people. Not to be mean or anything, but just like I think I was more up. I wasn't upset with them. I think I was more upset with like some of the things that they were doing in class. I'm just like, how are you getting away with this?
Right.
And that's not to shit talk PTI, but like I have an associate degree in design, so I know what that world was like and what how people were learning. And your portfolio, that was the cream of the crop. So you were at the top end of the spectrum, and a lot of the people that said they valued my opinion but were probably secretly pissed at me, yeah, they did not have as strong a book. But for what it's worth, I don't know what they're doing today, but I know what you're doing. So I think that speaks to your capabilities, and it
Awesome.
seems like you're thriving today.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you up to? So you're marketing manager for Schroeder Industries. What does that look like? What do you do day to day?
So it's really cool and it's hard to pinpoint. I'm sure you can relate to that on a day to day. There's not a consistent, I do this, this, and this like every day.
Mm-hmm.
We make the joke that I feel like my workday doesn't start till 5 p.m. because what I had planned on going, what I had planned on doing, getting done, just doesn't seem to get done in the day. Because
Right.
I provide support for our sales staff, our product development team, just pretty much everyone in the company.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime they need something to just give them that extra edge to making like a sale or helping
Right.
someone.
Absolutely. So, you're kind of helping out a bunch of different worlds in that respect, and it helps you understand the bigger, fuller picture of your employer. What is Schroeder Industries? What do they do?
So we are a manufacturer primarily of filtration, so like hydraulic filtration, water filtration, fuel, like big, big stuff like
Mm-hmm.
construction equipment, garbage trucks, you name it, stuff. Not like a
So,
not a Brita water filter, but like
right.
something that costs you a pretty penny.
Yeah. So are you guys considered a necessary business
We
right now?
are. We
I
are
think,
because
yeah.
we supply to the military. I have a whole list of bulleted that kind of saved us,
Mhm.
like pulp and paper, agriculture, and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. I've been really interested in asking people about like if they consider or if they know for fact if their employer or business is mission critical or is deemed necessary by the state to continue operation. And a lot of people are like, well, I'm just a marketer. Like I'm not, but no, your company is. So I spoke to Jen Strang a couple days ago, and she was saying like, yeah, I run basically the trade organization for the printing industries, but we're deemed the printers are deemed necessary for operation. So it's just kind of interesting to see that. So I'm glad you guys are still up and running, and business is carrying on as usual despite the circumstances. How
Appreciate
has the outbreak affected your workflow and day-to-day life, etc.?
So I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying. I got this setup that I'm sitting at right now where I have a 24-inch PC monitor with my laptop right next to it. So I'm really enjoying because I have, well, how many screens? I have 6 screens at my desk at work. I have
Wow.
a laptop hooked up to two and another laptop hooked up to another two. But going from that to just two, it's a learning curve. But
Right. Well, I'm surprised. I was gonna say if your graphics card can hold up to 6 screens at a time, like that's a hell of a computer you got. Uh,
yeah, they give us. We have a complete in-house engineering firm, and I have the same the same computer that they use for 3D models and CADs and stuff.
oh wow. Okay.
Just so I
So
can get into Premiere and do videos and
Right. So you're doing a wide variety of marketing-based services, all in-house. So
right.
you talked about Premiere. What else are you doing? What do you make?
So we make, okay, videos is a big one for us. Any kind of signage, because we're partnered with a national chain of distributors. So anytime we need to kind of deck their storefronts out, say, hey, they sell Schroeder,
Hmm.
stuff like that. Brochures, endless brochures, booklets. Just trying to rattle it off.
So you got print-based media, digital-based media. You do it. How are you guys set up on social media, things like that?
Yeah, yeah. So we have we moved into LinkedIn is still really good for us because it's we're business to business.
Hmm.
That's where I see a lot of activity and growth. YouTube is slowly but steadily growing pretty well too because we offer a lot of things that need kind of that video instruction to understand how it works.
Right.
Twitter's kind of slow to the start. Facebook's been stuck for a little while because I don't really think people are coming to Facebook to buy a
But-
filter.
Well, and like you said, you're B2B, and Facebook is great for B2C organizations. So, yeah, it's not entirely compatible. You
But
know,
then what
this.
what shocks me is that the only social platform I've actually gotten like an RFQ was Facebook.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
In the message section said, hey, here's a part number. Can you quote this? I get that. I mean, there's no steady, but I know last year there was at least a dozen times that happened.
Right. So you actually have to keep that channel active specifically for that reason. Wow,
That's
that's a
yeah,
lot of work to maintain just to get one aspect of incoming communication.
right.
Wow,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. I always
Yeah,
find that a pretty cool statistic there, but
yeah, that is neat. Okay, so you're making everything in house, and how's your department set up now? You're the marketing manager. Should I presume that you run that department? Do you have a supervisor? You've got people working under you. What's the framework?
yeah, so I do run the department and I actually report directly to the president of the company.
Okay.
So with, I know his day to day is super busy and I actually pride myself in I don't know, not weighing him down with the stuff that he trusts my judgment. I make a decision, we're fine. Like nobody's hurt. So
Right.
it's actually a really, really cool dynamic and seeking his, opinions and advice when it's needed, but also respecting that he, has every department head reporting to him, essentially.
Right. Right.
So anything I can
Yeah.
do to lift that burden is awesome.
Yeah, I have the same philosophy. Like, I like my supervisor just fine, but like, I'm not going to try to bother him with minutia and, insignificant details. And, what's actually funny is that I don't know how your office is set up, but like with mine, I can just scoot my chair back a little bit and then sort of look diagonally through the doorway and I can see him sitting in his desk. So we'll have meetings where we're just screaming at each other from, I don't know, like 20 feet away.
So we're a little bit further away from that, and it's not really with the president, but our VP
Yeah.
that tends to happen, where he'll kind of pop out of his office. You won't even see him, but you hear your name being called. So
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah.
like that. I like that just kind of breaking down the walls and stuff, and just talking whenever you need an
Mm.
answer.
So I love the fact that like when I first met you, like your career trajectory has gone from that one place, and now you're running a department, and you've got people working under you, and you've had a lot of growth very, very quickly, and I'm excited for you. And I'm curious, how did you decide you wanted to get into design and marketing? What was that one thing that just snapped into place?
So I love that. I definitely, my college self differed so much more from my high school self. High school, I just did what I could to get by because I just wanted to go outside and do something or hang out with
Right.
friends, go to the mall. I could give, I don't want to say anything, but just give no cares to history, homework, and writing. So I just, quickly, whatever, just to
Mhm.
paint the idea there. It dawned on me, it was my senior project that we had to answer a questionnaire after presenting and said, what do you want to do? I hadn't given any thought to that. So I remember talking to my mom. It's just so burned in my mind. I used to do up little CD covers. Like I'd make kind of a mixtape and I'd design and like paint or word or whatever a little CD cover. And I'm like, if only this was a profession. And my mom told
Right.
me that was graphic design.
Wow. And that's kind of where it started.
Right.
And you chose, it's not called Pittsburgh Technical Institute anymore, isn't it? Like college, Pittsburgh Technical College.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you chose, so I, I want to focus on this and I think it's coming from a point of pride. So you went to Pittsburgh Technical College and you got an associate degree in graphic design.
Correct.
And I love that because in my world, maybe not necessarily yours, but in mine, there's this perception that you can't be a graphic designer with a meaningful career without a bachelor's degree. And I blame a lot of faculty people on creating that misperception because anytime, seriously, Tim, anytime I've engaged in a conversation like that, I actually bring you up. I bring you up and a few other people and be like, I know people that have associate degrees that are thriving and they're doing amazing things. So I have to put those people in their place from time to time. And it speaks to the value of the degree and the education that you got, that, you know, Schroeder hired you and then you leveled up into a management position. I mean, I know graphic designers with bachelor's degrees that have been in their field for 15 years and still aren't managers. So, I mean, it's a wide variety of things. On top of the fact that there are a lot of designers that don't want to be managers.
Right.
So maybe in your respect, that's kind of where you deviate, where, you know, a leadership sort of angle maybe came a bit more naturally to you.
Right.
Especially since you were more serious about your profession in college.
Yeah, that's maybe it was the, I don't know, the lack of seriousness in high school that gave me the energy or the birth to like actually want to make a difference in school. Mm-hmm. Then again, my money was actually paying for school, so why not take that serious? And
right. Well, you know, and I was the same way when I went to my associate program. Like, I was there to kick ass and take names. Mm-hmm. You know, I was not messing around, and I made a lot of friends, a lot of lifelong friendships, but I sure as hell know a lot of people that still do not like me to this day because of that fact.
Right.
So, you know, it is what it is. You get all types. But so you went to PTC, you're thriving and you're having a great career. Where did when you were in school, what did you see yourself doing? Like what kind of career did you want for yourself?
So that's funny because you brought up, you know, just the I'm not going to say just the design role, but that just seemed to be the sought after, like, oh, this person, she just does graphic design for the Penguins, or she just does, like, you just wanted to be that designer. So I remember the whole time in school, it's like, yeah, I want to be that creative. I want to, you know, do the execution work. I just want to be the design aspect of it.
Right.
And then, you know, as I left school, I noticed that, you know, I don't know how to put that. Marketing is the bigger picture and the way people think and who to target and all that stuff. And I was so fascinated in just the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's actually kind of interesting because, so I'm teaching a marketing class now in a business college at Pitt, right? In the undergraduate business college. But I've always been teaching graphic design at the undergraduate level. And the two are really connected, right? I mean, I was remembering, I had remembered, we did in my senior graphic design class, we had to do presentations, and our report was all marketing statistics and tactics and techniques. It was all marketing. And then the design aspect to it was to wrap all of that into a nice presentation and show some deliverables. And designers are marketers, period. They absolutely are. And we're just not always trained that way.
Right. That's well said.
Because I maybe you could speak to this too, but I feel like I had to learn a lot. I got my marketing degree in the School of Hard Knocks. Like it was all practice based. So it's like, all right, I'm going to start. When you met me, I was right at the end of sort of closing and merging my first company off.
Right.
And I basically started a company and be like, okay, what do I do now? And it was like, I just had to figure this stuff out.
Right.
So on the marketing end, can you speak to what you had to learn about practically, and what were some of the things that you maybe had some trouble with or some challenges with?
Right. Yeah. So, as a designer, you're taking the initiative, I think, from somebody else's idea. You're doing the legwork. It's like, hey, I have this vision. I want to reach this person. I want to sell this product. I want to do this. How can we do that? But you might not be getting that background. You're really getting, hey, I need an ad and it's due tomorrow. It's this size.
Right.
I want this product. Bam. So, you're starting out in the Adobe suite, the programs and stuff, and you're really not familiar with the programs. You're taking your time. Maybe an ad would take you, I don't know, 2 days. Just that's an exaggeration, but
Sure.
you'd spend plenty of time, and you'd think you'd finally have a piece that works, and then whoever was asking for it was like, why do you have this stock footage? Why do you have this text? Why do you have like? I guess what I'm saying is the biggest, hardest part, and what I take for granted nowadays is just understanding why you're doing the thing you're doing and how much time you save when you just know that critical, when you ask the right questions right at the beginning before you dive into it and spend 2 days on it.
Right. Yeah. So let me switch gears a little bit. So design, you got that locked down. You're doing video-based work. Are you doing any web-based work? Any coding, website design?
Not coding. So as it stands now, we're actually going through web redesign. We're currently, which I never knew until starting Schroeder, that you could have a website based through SharePoint, Microsoft SharePoint. So that's where our current website is.
Okay,
we're moving towards a WordPress website.
Ah, okay. Well, if you need any help there, you let me know.
Appreciate it.
Well, I've got all the tips and tricks and people and all that stuff. So yeah, WordPress is what I primarily build my websites in, have been since, my God, 2007, 2008. Yeah. I love building in WordPress. And, it was kind of interesting. Like today, I got an inquiry on a project for a dairy farm. And they're like, well, we have a WordPress site, but we really like this other one. So I look at it and I'm like, wow, this is really dynamic for a dairy farm. Like, this is like the most cutting edge premium dairy farm I've ever seen. And like their website is built in Squarespace. And I'm just like, well, of course it looks like that, because all of the Squarespace templates have that premium kind of glossy feel to them. Right. So anyway, I digress.
That's so funny. That was really funny. Cutting edge dairy farm.
Right, cutting edge dairy farm. I might have to figure out how to work that into like a recurring example in my classes.
Right.
So
the power of good marketing, good visuals, good message, like just the impression you got from that.
Well, plus I get to ask people if they ever milked a cow. You ever do that? Yeah, it's pretty strange. Yeah. So you're doing a wide variety of things. What kind of things are you trying to learn now, or what do you want to learn in, within your occupation, or even just the industry?
So occupation-wise, so I kind of have a list, or not a list, but just goals for each occupation. I'm surrounded, my whole company is just surrounded with professionals in, hydraulics and fluid power. And I just felt, I have 4 years into this company, and I just felt so, still to this day, just so like behind the 8 ball, that everyone just knows that this stuff works and this and that. And it's a continuous learning on how those, shovels, how the construction equipment, how it works, how companies build it. Like that is just a constant knowledge. For marketing's sake, I've really taken an interest into like UE, user experience, just really solidifying that overall bigger picture.
Okay. Yeah. So you are doing what a lot of folks are doing, and they're taking a deeper dive into user experience, designing user interfaces, trying to understand the front end as much as possible. Because as you know, that affects sales.
Right.
That generates leads. It helps determine what leads are hot or cold. You do A/B testing, and that can give you just incredibly different results just by changing one thing.
Right. Like a word, or like the way you end, like that is crazy to me. Why did this tweet, reach 11,000 people and this one only reached 43. Like, what did I do differently?
Right, right. And so people are taking a deeper dive into UX UI, but they're also
That's what
looking
I meant.
at.
I have to stop you. I
Oh,
said UE, but I definitely meant UX.
you weren't incorrect. Actually, UX is probably grammatically incorrect, but whatever. And then the other aspect is like social media advertising and things like that. That's actually a large portion of what I do now in my job is just making ads in Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and it's always kind of cool to see those show up on your social media. Do you guys do any social media advertising?
Not advertising as of now. I know we've talked, so we were having not a bit of a problem, but we have a facility down in Cumberland, Maryland, and this is the only time that we've talked about paying for advertising, just trying to get somebody hired, like reaching
Oh
out
wow.
to people like manufacturing professionals down in that area. But other
Okay.
than that, no, in my time here, we haven't spent on.
So I'm sorry to interrupt, but this
No.
is a great thing to talk about. Right now, so we're experiencing the coronavirus outbreak. Everything's shut down. The economy's hurting. Fortunately, you're in a good place with your company. They're mission critical to the greater infrastructure of the country, so on and so forth. But I have a lot of students that are going to be leaving, they're going to be graduating, and they're concerned about the types of jobs that they may or may not have available to them. Before we spoke, I was on a call with some students and I said, so what do your job prospects look like? And the one student said, well, I have a job lined up, but it was in events, so I think it might be gone now. And then the other student's like, well, I haven't gotten any, I haven't really put myself out there to get any offers or to get hired. I just kind of like doing this one thing with video-based work, and I'm interested in starting a career in that. And I'm in marketing, so I've got a long journey to get to that point. So he's like, I think I'll just keep doing this thing that I'm doing and, weather the storm. And when things cool down, take a harder look at it. But I've been emphasizing the ability to get hired into the trades. Now, specifically, for marketing and design students, the trade industries absolutely need those people,
Right.
folks like you.
Right.
So what would you do? How would you recommend some students that may be interested in just making a living and having a job, but targeting the trades? What would you recommend they do to break into the industries or the field?
Right, and to this day, I'm going to start by saying I don't know if I have an answer for this one because I feel so lucky that this opportunity came my way. Because directly out of school, I marketed for a credit union for 3.5, 4 years directly after school.
Was that down on the north side? Where were they?
No, their location was Moon Township.
Oh, they're in Moon. Okay.
Yeah. There was a bunch of different branches, but the corporate headquarters was Moon Township.
Okay.
And I don't even know what I can honestly joke about it, but my wife and I are big Office fans. And I, saw a posting for Schroeder Industries, and it reminded me of like Schrute Farms or Dwight Schrute.
Right.
So, honestly, I put my name in that hat and started learning what they did. And I don't know, you have to, I don't want to say flatter the company, but just really take an interest. If you find a company like hiring, you find it's a trade, they got welders, they got engineers, they have like, a big trade company. Just start, I don't know, investing your life, not your interest into what they do. Show that you're in it for the greater good. Show that you want to use your expertise to help them further themselves.
Yeah.
That's honestly what I did.
So, I mean, you showed interest. You showed that you could or you did care about that world, and you were open to it. And I think you were enthusiastic, and that goes a long way. How does someone get interested in filtration? Right?
I can't even tell you, but it is. I can speak that I nor my wife so many times because it's exciting to me. It's exciting that it's a company in Pittsburgh that manufactures these right in your facility. Like I just didn't think stuff like that existed still. Right here.
Yeah. It's I can relate to that. I'm not sure that my wife actually really cares much about the things that I'm doing,
Yep.
but yeah, I mean, it's good that you're interested and excited about it because that can be contagious. So like, you know, you could be at Schroeder for the rest of your career if you wanted to. And, you know, I could see it being a hard transition to develop such an interest in filtration and then be like, all right, well, you know, maybe I hit my ceiling here. Not that you would, but now I have to get really excited and learn about wood.
Right.
You
Right.
know? Yeah. So, you know, how did you find your excitement for this company and what they do? Because a lot of designers and marketers, they're going to have to discover and build a passion for the work that they're doing. Otherwise, they're just not going to enjoy themselves.
Right. And
Right?
I could honestly now, I mean, just speaking to you, if you know, during interviews, I can say my strength is that whatever I not put my mind to, but put myself towards, like I'm just a natural, passionate person.
Mm-hmm.
And once you kind of get that taste that you are making a difference, you are making a change, it's contagious, and you want to just keep learning more about it.
Mm-hmm. And I agree with that, and I can relate to that because that one time you talked to me about milking cows. I mean, you were very, very excited.
Right. Right. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's just, I hope that's something, that's a trait that somebody can adapt. I hope it's not just singular to me, but like what you talk about to me, I will show the most interest, and
Yeah.
that's just how I am.
Well, you know, it goes a long way. It really does. And so outside of what you're doing with Schroeder, like, are you doing any freelance work on the side, or how do you sharpen your design knives, so to speak, when you're outside of your day job?
Right. So I kind of put a halt to it now, but during college and I mean, as of recent, I've been doing a like a side music project.
Oh, okay.
I grew, it's not anything impressive, but like my Twitter account for my music page has grown pretty good. You know, I do like the CD covers for that. I, you know, market and just that's like honestly how I test and like trial.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cause I really don't care. It's I'm behind like a logo, whatever. You don't know it's really me, but I trial, you know, different aspects of it and see what works, see what doesn't work, see how I can
Right.
relate that to a professional marketing career.
So when you say music, are you a musician? Are you playing, and then that's your Twitter
Yes.
representation, or?
Yes. Yeah. I
Okay.
used to be in bands all throughout high school and then discovered GarageBand on Mac and just started perfecting that
Nice.
over,
Okay.
oh yeah, over 12 years of that now.
Wow. Okay. Um, so what instruments did you play?
Percussion at heart. And then with that, because I did percussion all throughout like high school and middle school, you
Yeah.
learn kind of the notes on like the marimba. So then that transferred to piano for me.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But bass guitar
My
is my favorite. I can make people think I can play bass, but I just cannot understand guitar and bass, and
Yeah.
I need to
Well,
hit something.
don't you have to have like skinny fingers for guitar, or?
Something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like you watch these guys and they just like switch their hands. And I'm like, I can't do that. I'm
Yeah.
gonna stay on
Yeah.
the same string the whole time. That's where I'm rocking.
Yeah, yeah, I tried to play guitar once, and it was a good look for me, but I couldn't play for shit. My brother's got the music genes, and then I got the art genes. So, yeah, it's funny. But I've been practicing my flutophone.
Oh,
If you remember those, the
yeah.
plastic recorders.
Right.
Yeah, because I wanted to teach Amelia how to play it. So occasionally, maybe once a week, I'll walk through the house and play the Star Wars theme on my flutophone,
That's
and it just
awesome.
pisses everybody off because it's the same part of the song repeatedly. Yeah.
That is awesome. Have to see if my mom still has my recorder.
You know, they're super cheap. They're less than $10. So, you know, you can have some fun with it. But okay. So anyway, you've got a great career for yourself at Schroeder. You're doing good work. What recommendations would you have for, you know, outside of people being interested and excited and engaged with, you know, what their prospective or current employer does? what would you recommend for students getting ready to graduate and enter the field that may have some difficulty finding a job? What do you think?
Just, the biggest thing I can say is just like, I always hear people say, like, keep your head down low. Just, I don't know, like your moment to shine, I think is going to come like at a natural point. Like everything for me right now has come not like it never felt forced. It was always like positioning yourself right. Okay, now I'm going to make this move, and now you're kind of like floating, waiting a little bit, and then making that move. Like, everybody wants to get out and change the world, but
Mhm.
learn what people are doing, get that knowledge, prove yourself, and then you'll be able to take it, and people will trust you. They'll trust your decision, your I don't know, your vision, I should say.
Yeah. Okay.
Just
Cool.
keep your head down low, and you'll change the world, but it might take 10 years.
Right. Right. And keep your head down, stay dedicated, stay positive. And even if the economy gets better overnight, there's going to be more opportunities there. Just just keep applying for jobs. How many jobs did you apply for?
I was gonna say I lost count. It'd be like, I don't know, I felt 30 a week, and you'd be lucky if you got a call.
Yeah.
But then that teaches you a lot about marketing. You send an email to 10,000 people. If 10 people open the email, I'm not going to say that's normal, but
Mm-hmm.
that's not a bad campaign. One person bought your product. Hey, you met your goal.
Right. So this is a great point. So I'm relatively new to Pitt, and I've got a really huge background, professional background, a lot of, and I'm not like trying to toot my own horn here, but just trying to prove a point. So I've got all of these accolades and awards and grants and high level projects and clients and everything. And when I applied for the job that I have now, I wrote out my cover letter, and it was like 2 pages. Like I had so much to say, and then I didn't really get. I sent it to a few people, and they're just like, "Yeah, looks great, looks good." So then I sent it to an actual like a different, completely set of people, strangers actually, and said, "Can you just read this and tell me what you think?" And they're like, "Yeah, this is terrible." And I'm like, "Whoa, really? Okay, please, this is good feedback. Tell me why." And they're like, "Well, it's obvious you've got this really great background and you're very qualified, blah, 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 but I don't want to read it." It's like, I don't want to read it. Like, you're writing this as if you're a faculty member and you're applying for a staff job. It's not compatible. So I basically stripped it all out and rewrote it, and it was 1 page. And I really felt like it did not represent me at all.
Yeah.
But then I sent it back to them, and they're like, "Do you mind if I share this with my boss to see if we can bring you in?" I'm like, I don't want to do that thing at that place, but thank you. So,
Right.
So even like in the fine details and how you're marketing yourself, that makes a huge difference.
Right.
But to your point, like, I had to send out a variety of different resumes and cover letters, and I didn't hear anything from anyone except that there were 3 actually. I think maybe I applied to 9 jobs. I heard back from 3, got 1, and then the 2 that reached out to me, one said, "We really like you, but you're overqualified. We would love to hire you, but you're going to be bored here and you're just going to leave." And then,
Flattered. So
which
flattered.
was very flattering. And
Right.
I'm like, well, give me a reason to stay.
Right. Right.
Like, I'm not actually asking for like a huge salary upgrade based on what I have. I just don't want to drive to Youngstown anymore. And then it was the same thing with the other one. They're like, "Yeah, we know all about you, but like, you're just going to leave." So, there's different ways to look at that sort of interaction, but
Right.
as it relates to those 30 that you applied to, or
It was like
just
30.
be
30 a week.
30 a week, just be dogged and determined to
Try
make
something different. Like if you're, I wish I would have known this when I was job searching, but like try something different. If you're doing the same cover letter, the same resume every time and not getting any results, like switch it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and not only that, but like you never know who's actually reading them, if they're reading them at all.
Right.
I mean, it's so interesting how hiring works. You know, like, so for example, if with my company Plus Public, if I had a job open and I saw someone that applied that had a background from PTC, I'd be like, no, okay, I'd consider them because I have that familiarity with that
Right.
with that university. But if it said Robert Morris, I'd be like, well, I don't know, whatever,
Right.
maybe not.
Right.
Yeah. So it could just be like the title on your degree that it could come down to.
Because you just
So
know that they've had that, I don't know, concrete, more, I don't want to diss Robert Morris, but more concrete training, more hands-on, more.
maybe, yeah. And I mean, Robert Morris was just an example. It could be any. I mean,
Right.
there could be people out there who be like, University of Pittsburgh,
Right.
you know, whatever. So like with the team that you have, did you build that team? Did you hire those folks?
I did. So it is just one other individual that reported
Okay.
to me. But yes, I did. And to your point, yeah, because I interviewed. I wanted to venture out. I didn't want to be so, favoritive towards PTC and PTI.
Sure.
But I just wasn't seeing the talent. I wasn't
Right.
seeing, the wow factor. I think you're actually going to take a load off my, my day. Like I didn't see that. And then I started hiring within or interviewing within PTC, and it's like, this is what
Right.
I was looking for.
Right. Yeah. And so, in that respect, I'm glad to hear that because it's folks like you that I think look at the bigger picture as opposed to just having a very finite view of things. So like I came from that tech school background. I know how hard those people work, and that's why I'm considerate to them. But there are so many people that are like, just has an associate degree. Like, what's he going to do? It's like, you'd be surprised. I think the biggest difference here is like with design, it's perceived that with a bachelor's degree, you maybe have more conceptual development
Right.
versus, and I think that there's some accuracy to this. So with a bachelor's degree, you may have more conceptual development, but you're lighter on the technical development, right?
Right.
And then at a tech school, you have more technical development and then less conceptual. Right. So I have that technical and then also the conceptual. So that balanced out well for me. I don't think that's the case every time. You're an exception to that rule. Otherwise, you wouldn't be where you're at in your career. And even then, for both parties, I do think it's an unfair stereotype. But that's nevertheless the one that is permeating throughout, the world. So thank you for hiring from that contingent of people. They are just as deserving and just as talented as anyone else.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. So we're ending our time together. Any parting thoughts you want to share with the soon-to-be graduate designers and marketing folks?
Yeah. So I was thinking about that. In addition to keeping your head down low, that kind of speaks to the jobs. Like whatever you apply to, if it sounds fun, apply to it. If it's not what you had in mind, still go for it because experience is everything.
Absolutely. So Tim, if someone's interested in learning more about you or getting into the filtration industry or learning more about just what you do in general and how they can get involved, how can they find you? How can they reach out to you?
Yeah, so I've really put some investment into my personal LinkedIn page. So Timothy Rodman. Find me, it'll say Marketing Supervisor Schroeder. I also have a Twitter account. It's Tim Allen Marketing. And also find Schroeder Industries on every social channel you can think of. We have fun cartoons and educational videos out on YouTube. LinkedIn's great.
Cool.
Type Schroeder, type Tim, you'll find one of us.
All right, sounds good. Well, thanks, Tim, for your time, and hopefully we'll check in with you soon.
Yeah, sounds good, RJ. Take care.
All right.